Okay, so we have a new bandwagon hopper for Kick writer named KickVic under the pen name Gordy's House on Twitter. When KickVic started in January of 2019, shortly after the Broly premiere, many would believe it was done under the pretense of a virtue signaling to get rid of Vic Mignogna, who many viewed as a child, who people in this clique viewed as a as a molester, a pedophilic, a vain asshole with a god complex, and basically someone who acted inappropriate toward other people. Here's the real truth behind it. Oh, hi, Evie. For the individual who created this sham of a movement, Kaylin Saucedo, aka Mars Girl, in the long term, this was never about defending victims of sexual assault. This was never about believing women. This was never about stopping pedophilia. This was about one thing and one thing only: her getting her foot in the door at Crunchyroll so she could become a voice actress. You can add getting rid of Vic Mignogna, and that's two things, so sue me. Someone she never met, but she never liked. So yeah, Kaylin, I busted you. You exposed you for what you really are. A lying little fraud. This was never about getting rid about Vic. This was never about pedophiles. This was never about sexual assault. Well, my point is, Evie, it may have been no surprise, but I was the first one to put two and two together. This is about you and you alone, bitch! All you wanted was to get out of your gutter life of being nothing more than a Twitch content creator who couldn't make ends meet and being an idiot on a game show when compared to your husband. I've watched that clip, and your husband carried the workload on that game show episode. That's all this was all about. Getting rid of Vic so you can put your own foot in the door. No more and no fucking less. You want to debate me? Come on out, coward! Oh, wait, I forgot. You're a liberal leftist. You're just going to deflect blame, virtue signal, and send your attack dogs to dislike the video. Done it so many other times I've called you out for the lying little whore that you really are. But unlike you, at least I'm straight with people. You were also behind covering one of the individuals who abetted in covering up Damon Mills's depravities. All you care about is sweeping shit under the rug, covering up for your contemporaries rather than getting to the bottom of things. And personally, I wouldn't be surprised, right, if you really are the bully who drove the Otaku out of Channel Awesome. You don't like it when someone's more popular than you. You don't like it when people call you out for your despicable behavior. And I may be the only one preaching to the choir on the mountaintop at this point. But the basic point still applies. And now KickVic has also gone after a gamer named Pikami, who was forced to quit over her liking Hogwarts Legacy. Leftist pigs like you can never be satisfied until everyone thinks your way. Well, you know what, bitch? Fuck you. Fuck Crunchyroll to the end of the earth. When Judgment Day comes, I hope you are all sent to hell, where you belong. For a Christian to dish out that level of condemnation, I know, not healthy. But people like you, Mars Girl, make me sick. And I'd be more than justified in my condemnation of you. You and your entire ilk. May God have mercy on your souls. Besides, as far as I'm concerned, you sold your soul to the devil, and you sold it for cheap. The same thing with the rest of the Crunchy Cabal. Think of the Crunchyroll Cabal. And believe me, I am no Jack Wilbur Allen to your Regis Blackguard, bitch. Because unlike Jack, I'm not offering a hand to give you redemption. I'd basically leave you to rot. For those who don't get that reference, I'll explain. It's from an audio drama I listened to a lot of as a kid called Adventures in Odyssey. Specifically, this is in the ultimate climax of album 25, Darkness Before Dawn. Going into this album, throughout the course of this album, beginning in chapter 2, Small Fires, Little Pools, organized organized vandalism has been going on. The local street gang, the Bones of Wrath, have been basically running amok and doing organized hit jobs on various spots around town. Nobody knows why or if they're behind it, though people are figuring out it's the Bones. To counteract this, Jack Allen restarts an old group gang that Witt created that would every summer go around and do good deeds called the Israelites. Doesn't pan out as their mole within the Bones is found out, and Jack is forced to shut it down until Witt's son, Jason, restarts the group. By this point, Regis Blackguard makes his return to Odyssey. As his henchmen, namely Philip Glossman, who's been part of the former town council member, who's been working in the mayor's office, who's always been a skunk in Blackguard's pocket, and a known criminal, hobby of vandalism, Myron Horovitz, aka Jellyfish, are based in a professor named Mr. Borville, don't remember his first name, I don't think they ever gave it, basically are instigating everything to get Witt's end, which is Witt's shop shut down. Witt's not in town at this point, as they were looking for a new VA at the time to take over House Smith's spot when he passed away the previous year. The album started in 95, but didn't get released until 96. Anyway, this leads to a recall vote against mayor election against Tom Riley, with the intention of Blackguard dropping out and supposedly getting Rodney Rathbone, the head of the Bones of Wrath's father, Bart, to take his place. But Blackguard reneges as he never intended on this. Bart spills the beans, and what was the real reason behind all this? There was a mineral underneath in a tunnel underneath Wits End that was used for the Underground Railroad. The mineral contained a compound that was used as a bonding agent for a virus called Roku. The bonding agent was codenamed TA418, a mineral that, when it ties itself to the Roku virus, can make it adapt to its weakness, oxygen. If the virus is injected directly into the bloodstream, it's deadly, though it takes a while for it to kill you. But if it hits oxygen, the virus dies instantly, which was why it was so unstable. It was something that Witt and a friend of Jason's from the National Security Agency, yes, Jason was a former NSA agent, who basically they created the virus and the bonding agent for government defensive purposes, Donex. Blackguard was planning to use it for to sell the virus in the black market to create the first bioterrorism ring, essentially pulling a Resident Evil a year before the first game ever came out. In the climax, Blackguard has set up a bomb in the tunnel underneath Wits End to get the mineral out. Jack chases him into the tunnel. He follows him into the tunnel. Here's the dialogue exchange between the two. Let me get to the quote. Let's see, where is it? Here it is. When Blackguard believes what Jack is after, to stop him and save the world. Here's what Jack responds with. And for those wondering who these characters were played by, Jack Wilbur Allen was played by the late Alan Young, aka the OG Scrooge McDuck from DuckTales, And Regis Blackguard, and by proxy his twin brother Edwin, up until his death in 2023, was played by the late Earl Bone. Anyway, here's what Jack says. I'm not here to I'm not here to save the world, doctor. I'm not here to save honesty or even wit's end. I'm here for you, for your soul. That's the only thing that matters right now. Not money or power or computer programs or viruses or world terrorisms. Terrorism. All comes down to your soul. Why don't you put down the detonator and give yourself up? You'll have time to redeem your soul. Blaggard responds like this, quote, there's a flaw in your proposal. Is the flaw in your proposal is that you assume my soul is redeemable. It isn't. I auctioned it off years ago. Then you sold yourself cheap. Your soul is worth the life of Jesus Christ. To give it to anyone else is an incredible waste. So I suggest you run for. At that point, Blackguard also reveals he's been infected with the Roku virus infection he got in album 22, the injection from album they got in album 22. Part 2, A Name Not a Number, A Name Not a Number Part 2 is taking its toll on him as he's collapsed twice during recall election speeches. Anyway, you don't want to kill me. Oh, you fool. Why wouldn't I? Goodbye, Jack Allen. Blackguard presses the button. Jack is blown. The bomb goes off. Jack is blown out of the blast radius range. And when he comes back out, Blackguard is dead, physically dead. There was one more trick he had up his sleeve: uploading a virus into Witt's greatest invention, the Imagination Station, with his consciousness inside it, and hoping some kid would be dumb enough to take him at his word for the promise of immortality. In reality, it was to trap the kid's brain inside the station while he downloaded his own consciousness into said kid's its body to continue his work. It didn't work in the end. Witt and Eugene pulled a little fast one by using a counter virus that would have taken both Blackguard's and Witt's life. But Eugene reverse engineered the virus, turned the Imagination Station's tech against itself to save Witt. But here's what Jack says in all the hindsight of it. I know it's hard to understand how a mind like Dr. Blackguard's worked. I hoped to help him change it. One last chance. But a soul so corrupted, so saturated in evil, can only come to one end without Jesus. It's destined for the final conflict and an eternity without God. End quote. Yeah, I went a little down the rabbit hole with this one, I do admit. I admit I went down the rabbit hole with this, but I had to get this one off my chest. Because I'm nothing like Jack Allen. In many ways, I'm a much more angry version of Jason Whitaker, reckless and willing to go headlong into the fight. I know, Evie, but does my anything, Vic is more like Jack than I'll ever be. Anyways, like I said, I am more of an individual who is more in line with Jason Whitaker, i.e., someone who is more prone to action without me and leaping before he looks. Vic, on the other hand, is more in line with Jack, calm, patient, and has more of the spiritual essence to it. Well, but in the end, wouldn't be too surprised that if Mars Girl did try to plant a detonator underneath the Anime Matsuri studio headquarters and Vic tried to stop her. Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if by now, because of how many vaccinations she's taken, Mars Girl actually does have the COVID virus. Granted, COVID's pretty much dying out the COVID narrative is pretty much dying out anyway. With even though only half of the truth about how it got loose and where its origin was is from has come out. Anyway, thank God I never got them. I never took one, Evie. Sure, I did a couple of tests, but that's about it. You know, number of tests I did, I could count on one hand, as opposed to a rap sheet compiled out of a buffalo scrotum of people who I knew took the vaccine and who are dying because of those vaccines. Regardless, regardless, I would prefer if Mars Girl is willing to go that far to make Vic's life a living hell. She's not the Christian she claims she is. She sold herself for cheap. She sold it to the devil when she got her first bites of stardom at Channel Awesome. Me, I'm happy with the small nibbles of stardom I've gotten in the past few years, but I've never let it go to my head completely. I've never let it go to my head on the level that Mars Girl has. In my case, I'm only seeking actual justice. I don't give a rat's ass for social justice. Because social justice just leads to nothing more than quick fixes and cover ups, rather than the truth coming out. Amen to that, Evie. Amen to that. This is the longest ISWV video I've done in a while. I stand with Vic now, then, forever. You now know the true purpose behind KickVic, what it was really all about. Leave a comment, smash a like, sub to the channel. I don't really give the share option, mostly because, let me just put it like this, I am more of someone who doesn't like to share his videos, even if what he says is the truth. If you want to share, knock yourself out, but don't do it too frequently. This is Mets128 signing out. Goodbye. Good fucking